Are they paying
Hello. Yeah, no, we're just talking about an intro
Who's
here.
complaining about your introduction? You can introduce it however you want. Are they
No,
paying you? When they start paying you, then they can tell you how to introduce your videos.
dude. All right, welcome,
I'm sorry.
welcome, everyone. We have Nick Troy here. He did an awesome
Hello.
introduction for me, so I'm just gonna cut this short and start. Thank you, dude. That
By
was awesome.
sabotaging it.
Yeah, that was kick-ass. All right, so Nick Troy, you're in the DC area. You're a carpenter. You're into OP. You're into typology. Is OP like the first typology stuff
Oh
you've been
yeah.
doing?
Oh God no. God no. I've been in this shit for 6 or 7 years, deep diving.
Oh wow.
So yeah, this is just the latest iteration.
Right. So what were you typed before you got to OP?
Well, growing up, I'm like fucking ADHD and like super creative. And when I'm with people, I get hyper and play. So people, I used to get always typed as ENTP. And like when we took the dumb little Myers-Briggs test in school.
Right.
Because anyone creative has to be an N.
Right.
Because S's are boring toaster fixers.
Right. STs.
But then, yeah, STs, yeah. But then I had ironically or actually fittingly, a like crazy ENTP friend that I met when I was out in LA, and who like knew the system inside out. And he's like one of those guys who's like, I'm a guru, I know everything, come listen to me. And I was like, oh wow, and then our relationship worked great as long as he knew more than me. And then when he didn't, then it stopped. But anyway, he did help me convince me that I was an ISTP, because I was like, okay, no, I'm definitely an extrovert. This was my peacocking phase.
Right.
If you want to glance at my peacocking phase, just look at nicktroy.com. Like, I was from when I was an actor, and it's like all bright colored and like me making dorky faces.
Okay.
So yeah.
Yeah, well, I'll put it in the comments and people can check it out. Okay, so like you got into OP.
You really don't have to.
Well, now that you said that, everyone's gonna click, dude.
Oh God.
Right. Okay,
oh, God.
So you were typed as an ENTP when you got into OP, and then what did you type yourself as?
No. I haven't been officially typed. So if this is,
oh really?
So
okay.
I just weaseled in the back door here. So
I've
right. just ruined your perfect record. So
wow.
I might just be a total imposter.
Yeah, you might be, man. You're fucking with me though, right?
No, legit, bro. I have not.
Oh really? Okay. You said you
were
typed. Okay.
I'm pretty sure I know. No, I never said that.
Okay. All right.
But I'm pretty sure I know what I am. I'm pretty sure I'm TISE. I'm pretty sure I'm double masculine TISE. Consume, sleep, play, baby blast. That's I've been tinkering with it over the last, well, I mean, off and on for the last year and a half.
Right.
But then really deep diving the last month or so, and then starting to having consumed and having slept on it. I've been playing with some people on it. I brought my other friend on board behind I have a lot of ENFP friends. I love ENFPs. And then bouncing off with her, and then playing with you guys and bouncing things around a bit. The whole thing with you. I have a lot of data now. I think I really have a good kind of in my body understanding of what a lot of the different, especially animals, are, because that's the tricky part. I knew I was TISE, no doubt.
Yeah, not SCTI.
No. See, no. I'm fucking hyper now because we're playing. But this is
part
of the thing.
You have a good play.
Like, I have a great play. But there's a thing too. Like, I store that fucking energy up. Like, I haven't talked to another human all day, pretty much, except for the people at the gym. And I didn't talk to anyone yesterday either. Yesterday, I was tinkering in my workshop all day by myself. The entire day. Then today, all the way up until now, I haven't done that. So, and this is the thing this is one of the nuances that a lot of times the OPS Facebooky people, you guys who are listening, hi, that people miss. A lot of times one of the nuances that people miss is they're like, oh, the little clip of whatever, half an hour, 20 minutes, an hour, of the person that I saw, they were expending energy. Therefore, they are play very high. And it's like, look, asshole, like, you haven't seen me. Like, you have to take the data sample that you have within the context of where it is. So, like, how much of the day was that? And also, what's going to happen after? I'm going to crash. I'm not going to talk to anyone else for another 2 days. You know what I mean? So it's like, and it's also I think that the stack, and this goes with your functional stack as well as your animal stack, the stack is not about what you are capable of doing. It's about one, like how sustainable in some ways it is, and it's also about how conscious it is. So when I start talking, when I start fucking blasting and shit, I have no idea what I'm saying anymore. So I'm blasting, but it's still mostly in my unconscious. But I can still do it, of course. And this is why I like rambles. That's
kind of like what blast first people that are missing sleep feel like too when they're blasting. They don't understand what they're doing until they're done.
Yep. Yeah. Well, and that's like one of the things that's useful about the personality hacker model is they talk about, or I don't even know if it's them, but they talk about your unconscious competence, your conscious competence, then your conscious incompetence, and then your unconscious incompetence. So it's like your top function and your bottom function, or your top animal and your bottom animal, they're going to be the ones that you're least aware of. You know, so there's a similarity there. There's a relationship with those, because one of them, it's like breathing to you, so you barely even realize that it's happening.
Yeah.
And then the other one, like, it's like, I don't know, like when it happens, it's almost like, last night was a great example of this. I had some fucking whiskey, and I was going to bed, and I was like, oh, I should write something. I don't have anything to write. I don't have anything to say. I should formulate this good habit, because I'm a writer or whatever bullshit. So then I took my laptop out and I started writing. And then of course I wrote like 1,000 words, and it was like super productive, like NF bullshit. You know, because that's my blast. You know, like that's baby blast. It's like, I can't imagine what this thing is that I have to say, but if I actually do like the work and let it happen, then all this crap comes out of me, and I'm like, what the fuck was that? But you know, there you are.
Right.
So it's just, I don't know. There's a nuance there between conscious and unconscious, and like awareness or lack of awareness, or even like to some degree control or lack of control, or sustainability or lack of sustainability. That's not about capability. You know what I mean? That's the thing that the MBTI community on the internet, you know, that Dave loves to make fun of, and but that, you know, that a lot of us will do as well. It's like, oh, higher on the stack means can, lower on the stack means can't. And you know, to some degree that's true. That's true with children and even like younger people. But like, fuck, man, I'm like 36 years old and I've been doing this personal development bullshit for years. Like, I've been working on my demons till my demons are buddies, man. They hang out with me. We talk, we whisper. I know devil speak. What's that? Parcel tongue. That's how I can talk with you intuitives.
Right. Yeah. So it's interesting. So tell me a little bit about your thinking, whether it's internal thinking, external thinking. Everyone has a thinking. So what do you see your thinking as? Introverted or extroverted?
My default mode of operating in the world is, how does this work? What are the parts? What are the component parts, and how do the component parts come together? So that's why I'm a really good handyman. You know how I started my handyman business? I had a bag of tools and a bicycle. And then I just started showing up, and then I would take something apart, and through the process of taking it apart, I would figure out how it works, and then I would put it back together. And this is the same reason that I like the MBTI community, the OPS community, because it's, what are the component parts of humans and human interaction? How does that shit work? So that's what my thinking is. It's, again, because it's my unconscious competence, and this is the way that I was able to narrow down what this was for me. This is what I'm always doing. Always. How does this work? What are the component parts? How does this work? What are the component parts? And I do it better with things in the real world, which is why I was able to just start a handyman business with no experience.
Do you feel like it's who you are?
I mean, it's a part of who I am, certainly. You know, in the terms of this equation, and probably in relation to other people, it's definitely who I am. I'm such a fucking IP.
Right.
I'm such an IP. I'm like, my identity is so complex. But no, certainly. Okay, here's the thing, and this is another very TI thing. I have to live in a way that makes sense to me, even if it doesn't make sense to anyone else. I mean, look at this fucking bullshit, man. Like, my office is a storage unit. Does that make sense to anyone?
Makes sense to me, man.
Yeah, it makes sense to you. Yeah, it makes sense to you because it's fucking practical. You know what I mean? It's cheap as hell, and I get to be outside. And, you know, does this make sense to people? What the hell am I doing? Why don't I just buy a truck? Because I want to build my own life. I want to do what makes sense to me. And it doesn't make sense to me to stay in one place and to pay rent and then to have a job that sucks, that you hate, so you can make money to live in this place that you don't want to live in anyway. Like that shit doesn't make sense to me. So I'm building the life that makes sense to me. So that's the way that I would really say it. Like I said, my turning of gears, trying to figure out how things are working all the time is so much like breathing to me that it's almost difficult to recognize. It's only through a triangulation process that I have taken over the last many years through a lot of different people and a lot of different you know, a lot of different experts in MBTI and stuff, for example, that I've been able to identify that as, oh, like, yeah, that's a thing that I do. Only because you know it's like we all are with our unconscious competences, with our dominant. It's like, isn't that just existence? Isn't that just what everybody does all the time? Isn't that just what it means to be a human?
Yeah,
and it's like, oh no, actually there's a whole lot of different varieties of human.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Is it similar for you, or
no,
what's it like for you?
Like anytime I explain this stuff to anybody, they're all like, and I try to identify their parts, but they're like, isn't that true for everybody? I'm like, no. No, it's not.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
That's the thing, and that's the thing that's so valuable about finding the patterns that overlay. I mean, this is kind of a dorky way of thinking about it, but like, you know, if you think of like an MMO and you're like picking your class and your race and you know all of these, there's only a set number of options. You're going to be a fucking dwarf, or you're going to be a hunter, or you're going to be a knight, or you're going to be like a whatever like that. You know, that's kind of that's what this you know, personality typology shit is. It's like there's a few baseline things to pick from. And it's like, oh, you're putting people in boxes. Like, no. There's so many different categories that the unique interconnection of all of these different categories means that the particular like version of human that you are is so unique, even if you're picking from all these different, even if there's a consistency of all these different patterns. Like even if you got your, you know, you're like whatever it is, gay, red-haired, bearded, glasses guys, or you know, like the OPS kind of like the standard like same personality type look the same.
That FE is either a demon or it's I don't know what's going on here, man. You just offended like half the population.
I just offended everybody. I'm sorry. It's not my fault. It's the demon. It's the demon FE.
Right.
No, but you know what I mean? Like even if you have all these cognitive functions similar, you have all your animals similar, you have all your masculine, feminine thingy similar in this particular system of 512, even then, you know, I guarantee one of those twinsies with the similar brains likes pizza and the other one is gluten intolerant. You know what I mean? Like there's still so many different categories at any moment. And so that is one of the difficulties of communicating with the non-typology humans is that they can't see the nuance. Let me see if I need to close my word here.
So you're sure you're your TISE and not TESE then?
Dude, TE is so fucking lame.
you're still offending people, man.
I know.
Everyone who's not me is lame, guys. I'm the best.
Which is classic IP, right?
Yeah.
No, if I found logic in the tribe that made sense,
right,
I would probably use it. But from my experience, it's pretty damn lacking. Like, no, you guys.
Right. Yeah, that's ISTP talk there. Yeah, for sure. All right. So what's your SE about?
SE is a lot easier because I mean, it's why I'm here. Like right here, because I get to be outside. Because sorry, I got to ebb and flow when I'm used too much energy.
For sure,
I'm gonna walk. Actually, well, that seems like a good use of what is your SE. Let me know if you can still see me. We're good.
Yeah, we're good. We got a little wind, but we're good.
Okay, this is usually a pretty good microphone.
Yeah.
So always aware of here. The wind, the sound over there, the feel of my body, the slight tension in my lower back from when I tweaked it a week ago. That sound of your family. You know, the temperature, the slight changes in pressure. Like there's like a certain baseline level of stimulation that SE just kind of needs to feel comfortable. I refer to SE as my ape. You know, we all know that we are apes. So for me, because SE is a savior in the religiosity language of OPS, oh, my savior. You know, there's just an awareness of that. So like, I like to constantly be moving to a degree. I like to have a baseline level of stimulation that suits me. So for me, that's kinesthetic audio because it's male SE. That was one of the things I really enjoyed tracking.
Right.
With OPS, because that made sense about the particulars of mine. And I think it's a little bit different too. Like I'm probably fucking autistic as well. And I think I have some like tactile and some hyper, what's the other one called? Proprioception.
Okay.
Yeah. So, you know, like that's one of the autism things is like your senses, like some of them are dialed way up and some of them are dialed way down.
Right.
So I think I have some hypotactile and some proprioception, which is why my body kind of needs to keep moving in order for me to feel great. And my and I need shit like that. But also, so that's part of it. One of the things I was thinking about today as I was working out, it's kind of noisy over there. I can go back in now. One of the things that I was thinking about as I was working out was, like, I can't imagine how people wear headphones in the gym. Because working out, there's so much feedback from your body when you're working out. Like, it's so distracting to try to listen to something else. Like, there's so much focus in doing a motion just right, and every part of your body that's being engaged. Like, I can't imagine doing that because it's like you're getting two different signals at the same time. It doesn't make any sense to me. Like, and so that's one of the things that I think might be different with extroverted sensing and introverted sensing is also this idea. Like, to me, my body is not exactly me. It's like, I talked about it being an ape. It's like an ape that I ride around on the back of. You know what I mean? It's like this thing that's external to me. And I am really, really aware of it. You know, it's like a fucking cowboy who knows his horse, has had the same horse for like 20 years. And when any little thing goes wrong, he knows it. Or, you know, some car nerd, probably an ISTP, you know, who any little sound or any little thing, he knows exactly what it is. Like, that's the way that I interact with my body. Like, I'm acutely aware of it, but it doesn't feel like me exactly. Like, me is this internal thing, this, you know, chattering, gear turning, figuring shit out thing.
Right.
You know, so that's part of it. And then, of course, you know, I love working with my hands. I love, like, when I can get this is what I tell people too. I would say 70% of the jobs that I do as a handyman or carpenter, I have never done before. And I'll just show up and I'll tell them. I'll say, like, look, if you have a problem or you want something built, ask. And if I can get my hands on it, then, well, if I can get my eyes on it, there's a good chance I'll know what to do. And if I get my hands on it, I will fix it.
Right.
And that comes from now I've been doing this for 4 years. And that just comes from me doing it enough times that I simply trust in my own ability that if I can get my hands on it and then I can just start taking it apart and seeing how it works, I will figure out exactly what is needed in that moment to make that thing do the thing that it's supposed to do. So that's kind of now the integration of the TI and the SE, because there's problem solving in that as well.
Right. And a lot of NI you'd need for that too.
Yeah. Well, and this is one of the things I was thinking about as well that I think requires some nuance in the OPS community is this idea that consume is this passive fucking thing. Now, that might be the case for different kinds of consume. But for fucking kinesthetic SE, it is not. Like kinesthetic SE is interactive. So my
It sounds like play though. Like play is also kind of consume. So, no.
But play integrates other fucking people. Play integrates the FE. Like this has some play in it because there's this emoting back and forth, and I'm like taking in this data from you. But I'm talking about what I did for 8 hours yesterday, which was just me, my hands, and a bunch of fucking wood. Do you know what I mean? There's no play there. There was no one else that was doing it. It was just me and my mind and my body. And that's what I'm saying. The consuming is like the information that I am taking in. And this is, I think consume itself is a problematic word. Not because it's wrong or whatever. This is some shit that they made up. So that whatever words they want is fine. But when we think of consume, we think of, we take something from the outside and then we put it inside. But with kinesthetic, Savior, what does kinesthetic means? Interactive. It means that I'm engaging with it. So I take this piece of wood and I do that with it, and then the wood tells me, no, I want this to be done. So then I do that instead. You know, like that's what SE is. It's going with the
masculine
flow.
SE. It's very masculine SE too, because you're controlling your environment. Yeah.
Yes, adapting, but it's not controlling. Controlling is, and because that's one of the things that people say too, shove, control, and like that is, I would say to some degree, like that's not a full. I mean, for me, like SE is in relationship with the physical world, and so it's not controlling because you can't control nature. You can't control the world. Like you can't control your environment. What you can do is interact with it, and you can create order in that chaos. You can manipulate it certainly, but that's about being in relationship. Like is a beaver controlling his environment? No, he's interacting with his environment. He's saying that's the wood that's going to work. We're going to move that over here, and then the environment changes. But the environment changes in like the beaver is also a part of that environment. And that's, I think, the thing that's really important. That's, I think, the thing that Savior SE recognizes is that I am a part of here and now and this environment.
The masculine,
and so
the
interaction with that, yeah.
Because like a feminine SE would probably not really want to move things in the environment. They'll go around the environment, but you're like interacting and moving the environment.
Yeah, and sometimes you move around things as well. Even as a masculine, sometimes you move around things. You know what I mean? If there's a big ass rock, or if I just have no interest, you know, from my own part, like if it doesn't make sense to do that, then I'm not going to, you know, I'm not gonna, like that sounds a lot more, I don't know, the way that people talk about masculine SE is this like pushy, shovey, controlly thing. Sounds like some fucking like 1800s like white colonialists like bushwhacking his way through Africa, like I am here and I will do, you know, it's like that's like a pathological version of it.
Yeah.
Extreme version of it. It's like
I see it also from the opposite. Like if you have a masculine SE, that means you see the world as feminine. You see the world as something that you can change and sculpt and mold to whatever if you want to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing too. And that's why, you know, sleep and consume is such a relationship, because it's like I'm tinkering, and then I'm like, fuck, I don't know what to do next. So then I sit back, and then my imagination has to kick in, and it's like, well, I could do this, or maybe we could go like that, or we could go like this, or this could happen, or this could happen. And then I'm like, man, I don't know which one of those fucking things to do, but I have a few options. And then when I start, then my body just starts to move, and then my body kind of, in collaboration with my brain, figures out which one of those things to do. But like, cool, I don't, one of the ways that I talk about SE is it's like I have a lamp and I can see the next step, and that's it. And so in order for me to know what's going to go after that, I have to take that step. So the action moving forward, then my lamp now shines a little further forward. And so, you know, occasionally in the sleep times, it's like, oh, I'm going to do that. You know, I can see these like visions of the future or whatever, as it were, but I have no concept of when. You know, I don't know if that's going to be tomorrow or that's going to be 10 years from now. And so that means that sometimes my plans are like, you know, literally I was like, I'm going to Alaska. And everybody's like, what the fuck? I'm like, I'm going to Alaska. So then I start preparing to go to Alaska. I'm like, man, it's going to take me a long while to get to Alaska. Like, oh, well, maybe I'll stop in Portland on the way and visit Dave. And, oh, my buddy's in LA. So, you know, it's that kind of a thing. So then I have the vision, but I have to like deconstruct it and then like be realistic. And then I'm like, well, before I do that, I have to fix my car. Before I do that, I have to do my taxes. Before I do that, so it's like, okay, what's the next thing? What can I do today? What can I do today? What can I do
Right.
today?
How can
Like,
you
that's kind of
advance your goal? How can you get there step by step? Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, I want to cut this short at some point, but I want to hear first about your FE, your demon FE. How does that affect you? Or demon feeling, at least.
I just want people to like me. I just want to help everyone. I have so many great ideas. If only they could see I'm not just being an ornery bastard. I love you guys. It's true. You don't really understand what the hell I'm doing. I get it. That's okay. I'm weird. But everything I do isn't just for me. It's for you too. One of my hacks for blasting little NF blast is singing. Something that bypasses the old TI robot brain when I do that. It's a trick I picked up with an ENFP buddy over What's Up Rambles. Yeah, it's that thing. It's like,
being audio too,
not,
I guess.
Yeah, totally. But it's like, it's not where I live, but it feels like why I live.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah. It's like your the end purpose for everything. It's like, why am I using my saviors for what?
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing too. And it's like, and what's missing? Like, what's missing? When you're a kid, and well, when I was a kid, I had a bunch of bullshit that happened to me, and that was rough, like we all do. But also, like, I was part of a family, and I was part of a tribe, and I was part of a community, and people are dying right now from loneliness and isolation. I mean, there's these fucking studies coming out right now. People being asked how many friends they have, how many close friends they have. The most common answer is zero. Zero.
Wow.
That's a fucking epidemic, man. And I was there. I've been in that dark, dark place, trapped in my head, feeling alone. That's perpetuated by the fucking internet and the way that it's set up right now. The internet's just a thing, but the way that it's set up right now, where we are the commodity that's being traded, that's part of what happens. And so, having come out of that shadow realm, and yeah, like I don't do things the way the tribe think I should. The tribe thinks I should, but I do things that I think will be good for the tribe and good for me.
Right.
Like I'm
in
like,
the end, that's
I can
just
rebel.
so much more useful to the tribe. Someone who can think independently
Exactly.
and do shit that they don't even know they need yet.
Yeah. But of course, like, I have to get feedback so that I'm in touch with reality.
Right.
You know what I mean? When I first really found Dave Superpowers, sorry. Yeah. There's my politeness. When I first really found Dave Superpowers, I remember, oh my God, like, I was in Nicaragua, in a small little beach town called Playa Gigante, in a cheap ass hotel, and I was just writing, and it was like I've been writing my entire life, just in journals and shit stuff, and I never shared anything. So I was finally like sharing stuff and trying to play this social media game, and I was on Medium and I was trying to publish stuff, and it was exhausting. But the funny thing was, I found this Dave Superpowers video, and it was like, I forget what it was. It was like something about it was ISTP fears. That's what it was.
Oh yeah. I saw that recently.
Yeah.
I watched it again recently.
Man.
Yeah.
And it was like, hey, I spent all this time tinkering in my workshop and completely abandoned the tribe for like years and years and years. And then look at this great thing I made. And then everybody's like, who the fuck are you? Where have you been? What's going on? Like, but I made a thing. You know what I mean? And I was like,
that's the video,
literally in the process of doing that. I was like, fuck. No. So that was a year ago. And year and a half ago about. And so the last year and a half has really been like, my family is from Maryland. I have never lived here in my entire adult life because I'm such a fucking wanderer. You know, I grew up all over the world. And so like the last year and a half, I have lived here in Maryland and like caught up with my family and like gone to Christmas and gone to birthdays and gotten to know my cousins and gotten to know my aunts and uncles. And, you know, like just had that connection. I've established relationships with people over WhatsApp and everything like that. So it's like, okay, I am connected to my community now. I am grounded, and I'm still going to be a weird little, you know, gnome tinkering in his workshop, but I'm not going to be gone for a year before I come back. I'll be gone for a week and then I'll come back. And when I start going a little far off the deep end, I'm checking in with people. I'm like, hey, how does this sound to you right now? And I have these mechanisms now for when I have a lot of emotion, when I have grief. I've learned how to grieve in the last year. And I have people that I can say, hey, this is an emotion that I have. And then I send it to them. And then, you know, what do you do with emotions? They're just like, oh, yeah. I'm like, oh, yeah, I guess you don't try to fix it. You just, and then they do it later. It's like, this is my like baby FE, like learning how to do it. So like, I'm like a proud 5-year-old now. I'm like, I can emotion. I can feelings. You know what I mean? But it's like, that's the process. You know what I mean? That's the process.
Right. That sounds like also you're getting in touch with your FI too, in some way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, some way. Yeah, maybe that's why I love all my ENFPs, because they have their FI as their conscious competence, you know.
Right. Yeah.
They respect that a lot. Yeah.
Cool, man, Nick. So yeah, thanks a lot. Do you have any final words, or is like something you want to promote that you want to talk about? We can put in the comments. Your business.
Okay. If you live in the U.S. and you want something built or have something broken that you want fixed at some point, I will soon in the next months be taking a road trip. I'm transitioning to a traveling carpenter. I've been a traveler for a long time. I've been a carpenter for a long time, putting them together. And I would love to, or if you just want to grab a beer or a cup of coffee or a cup of seltzer water and talk nerdy, then we could do that too. So whether you have demons that you need taken care of, or whether you just want to meet up, like I'd love to meet up with people along the way. Because that's the thing, man. Like I love this shit, but I fucking hate Facebook and I fucking hate the internet because it's not real.
Wow.
So I'd love to meet up with people, or I'd love to get on WhatsApp and exchange audio rambles with people, and I'll do some play blasting too. I'll probably put some YouTube stuff together or whatever. But what I would really like to do is just meet with real people in the real world at some point. And if you can't travel because you got kids and mortgages and full-time jobs, that's fine. I can come to you. And if you're like, who the fuck is this weirdo? Like, I don't want you anywhere near my house. That's fine too. You know what I mean? Like, no worries. It's just an invitation to be invited. That's what I guess that's what I'm offering.
Awesome, Troy. Nice to meet you. Thank you very much. So yeah, we'll keep in touch, and I'll put like whatever your website or whatever, contact information, and yeah, people get a look at it. All right. Have a good one. Bye.
I love what you're doing.
Yeah. Cool. Thanks, man.